I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this 611th episode of the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, and we've got a couple of things that we're going to be discussing this evening. We have a couple of very important topics that we're going to be discussing in a couple of different locales all around East Central Indiana. We're going to be talking about goings-on in Muncie, Indiana, my hometown. And then we're going to be talking about the goings-on in Henry County, which is the county that is just to the south of Delaware County. Muncie is the county seat in my hometown, Muncie, Delaware County. Newcastle, Henry County is to the south of us. And we're going to be talking about things going on in both of those areas tonight. Or if you're listening in the future, because this is YouTube and you can listen whenever you want. If you're here listening live, welcome. Live is 9:07 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday, February 25th. However, if you are listening to this in the future via the replay button, then you could be watching this in the morning time or in the afternoon time, so it doesn't really matter. But it's evening here where we are on my timeline. And we've got a couple of things that we're going to talk about that are very big. So if you know people from Muncie or you know people from Henry County, now is the time to share this link. And I would ask that you share the YouTube link, if at all possible, but however, it doesn't matter. We are on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on X, we are on everywhere. We're everywhere you could be, we are there. Before we get started in the show, though, I do want to take care of a couple of quick housekeeping issues. Number one, can anyone tell me if you guys have been experiencing ads in the live in the last couple of days? Last week, we had an issue, and I believe Kate, in all of her infinite wisdom, was able to fix that issue for us. So we are not losing we're not losing funds, really. It's negligible what we're giving up by not running ads in the lives, but I believe she fixed it. So I would like to know if anyone could tell me if there are ads that you have seen pop up while we're here live. The number one thing I want to know is, has it muted us? Has it muted us? And I'm not talking about if you're watching it on replay or repeat, because if you're ever watch this show on replay or repeat, like say, for example, we're live right now. If you all of a sudden say, hey, I'm hungry and I'm not going to listen to Bilbrey rant, and then you go get something to eat, you turn this off and you say, I'm going to watch him tomorrow morning, and you wake up tomorrow morning and you turn this on, you will get ads. You will get anywhere from 3 to 4 ads, depending on the length of the show. 3 ads if it's about an hour and a half, 4 or ads if it's 2 hours plus. So that's just how it is. But during the lives, that's what we're concerned about. So let us know. And the big thing is, I don't care if it's ads that stop you from being able to post for a minute or whatever. We just don't want ads that mute us. If it mutes us, that's what we want to stop. And for the people who say, oh, I get 7 to 12 ads, it's because you're watching it too quickly. Unfortunately, you're watching it before we're able to stop it, because we have not been able to find a way to stop it from putting crazy ads in until we actually go in and fix it. We have to fix it. It's I don't know. It's a thing. So, it is what it is. So we'll find out. Just let us know. That's good. All right. The next thing that I want to say, this is housekeeping. We're going to get all of this out of the way so we can talk the rest of the show about the big, important stuff. Okay. We do have a contest going on, and we are starting to get a couple more people that are participating in the contest. But I'm going to tell you, we need to hear from a couple more of you. We need to hear from a couple of our men out there. We've heard from a couple women, and I'm wanting to have a little bit of a balance. So we're needing at least a couple of you men out there. Alva, I don't think you've sent us something, and you don't have to. Listen, if you're not interested, that's fine. But if you are interested in participating in this contest, then please, all you've got to do is see that statement down below, record it into your cell phone voice recorder. Pick up your voice recorder, record that message, and then send it to me on Facebook, send it to me on my cell phone, or send it to me via email. It's very easy. Here's my phone number where you can text it to me. There's where you can text it to me. Here's where you can email it to me. Or then here's where you can send it to me via Facebook. Here, whoops, I didn't get his. I don't know where you sent it. You'll have to tell me where you sent it. There's my thing, and here's my thing. You can send it to either one of those Facebook pages. So please let us know where you sent it, and we can try to take care of that. So, yeah, I got an idea for a Floby. I'm going to try to get it this weekend, bro. I've been in the middle of doing a lot of shit here lately, moving and doing all of that. Yes, we received Ambers. We received. The only thing I don't think we've received Castle Lords. We'll have to look after the show. I'll send you a message and see. Maybe we can look. Okay, so that is that. We got that out there. Okay, because technically tomorrow's supposed to be the deadline. But I'm going to need to get. Can I create a YouTube short? Send me whatever you got to send me. You'll know you'll soon learn what the recordings are for. But send me whatever you want to send. That would be great. But if we might have to push it maybe till the first of next week if we need to get some more of you. So just FYI. Okay, that is there. Let me see if there's anything else that I need to say. Before we get started, all right, I'll get a hold of you, Rachel. I'll call you. I'll call you after the show. We also, I've not heard from. No one takes me seriously about the contest. God. I've not heard from the Gully family in a day. I talked to him a couple days ago, but I've not heard from him. Don't know what's going on there. I'm getting a lot of people asking me. I'm getting a lot of people that's messaging me. Folks, the minute that I know what's going on, I'll let you know what's going on. I do not know what's happening. And all I know is the last time that I spoke to the family, last time I spoke to the mother, his mother, without going into any details, I'm just telling you that we all need to be, for those of you that are prayer warriors, for those of you that are believers, whatever it is, do whatever you do, be praying for that young man. Be praying for his family, for his loved ones, his friends, the people that know him. Really, really hard. And I know there are a lot of people out there praying, and I want to be very clear here. That's a very good possibility. I'm sure he does. I want to be very clear. What we want to be praying for is God's will to be done, whatever that will might be. And I know that's hard, and people have a hard time with that. But we just want God's will to be done, whatever is right for the family, for all of them. We're hoping for a miracle, and we're hoping that he comes out of this and everything is good. But that's there. I want to put that out there, and that is far, far, far above and more important than anything else that I'll be saying tonight. Be praying. And then the only other thing that I was going to say, I know there's something that I'm forgetting. I'll try to come up with it. We are hopefully going to be going over Winchester candidates in a couple of days. So maybe the first of next week. It's Sunday's the Muncie. Oh man. It'll probably have to be Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what happens next week. We've got a really big. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about the Muncie City Council meeting coming up. We've got Thursday and Sunday to talk about that, but we will get to Winchester because I've got people asking me about that as well. Okay, so let's get on with the show, folks. We're going to be talking about Henry County, and we're going to be talking about the city of Muncie. And because of how I have some things set up, we're actually going to be talking about Henry County first. So for any of you that have anybody out there that you believe would be interested in hearing about Henry County, I'm going to tell you, now is the time to get them involved. Let them know where to go for the show, and get them involved with it, because then after that, we're going to talk about Muncie. That'll be the first half, Henry County, the first half, and then the second half will be Muncie. So that's kind of how we're going to go there. Because of what the show looked like, because of the title, and I just realized what I was going to say. Because of the show title tonight, it might have looked as if I was going to talk about Muncie first, because I titled it episode 611, Muncie Board of Works and Henry County Insurance. But because of how things are going in my show notes and things, we're going to talk about Henry County first and then Muncie. So I want to make sure people are aware of that. Let me get this going here. Give me 1 second. Problems. Okay. The last thing, I knew there was something I was forgetting. And I know that people are going to be mad about this. It's just going to be what it's going to be. So you're just going to have to. I'm not okay with it because I don't like how things are different. But really soon, really soon, probably when we're in the new studio, maybe even before we're in the new studio, the way that I title things on the show will be different. So just a quick little note here. This is very important. I want people to be aware because I don't want people to get, like confused and whatever. Okay. I want people to see this. So, when you're on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitter or really any of our platforms, when you're there, you will see this page. This is YouTube. And if you go to our playlist or you go to like videos or lives, okay, this is really just going to affect the live episodes. Okay. The videos, if you look here, the videos are titled Raw Video Deposition of Henry County Sheriff John Sproles Defamation Case. Fact or Fiction, Sheriff John Sproles, edition 2626. Phone conversation between Kristopher H. Bilbrey and Randy Tweedledum Howard. Video of an attempted burglary. So they don't have numbers and they don't have the political spotlight. They just have the title of the video. When you go to our live section here, it says, like all of the nightly episodes, it says hashtag and a number, 611, and then a line, and then a title, Muncie BOW, Board of Works, and Henry County Insurance, line, the political spotlight. And you will see then 610 is 610, line, Muncie, or Monday Fun Day, free for all chat, line, the political spotlight. In the real near future, that's going to change. It's going to just say the political spotlight. Then there will be a dash and it will say the number, like the political spotlight, episode 612, the political spotlight, episode 613. So in order for you to get an understanding of what the show is going to be about, you are going to have to click on that episode. Have to click on the episode and come to the description and read the description. Okay. Now this was not a titled episode. This was statement concerning Henry County candidate for sheriff dash Randy Howard, the political spotlight, and it's statement concerning, release. Okay. If we go backwards, if we go back and we see, we'll go to 610. That's not, I got to tell you, that's not a good one either. Let's go down here to, oh yeah, this is a good one. Let's go down to 608. Click on 608 and we go down here to the description. You can see I write a pretty detailed description of what's going on. Like, for example, if you go to the description for this evening, it's a description of what's going on. If we go to this description, you can see this is a pretty long, drawn-out thing. In this 611th episode of the Political Spotlight, host Kristopher H. Bilbrey covers a major story from Henry County, Indiana, and then moving northward, he covers a big announcement made earlier in the day in his home city of Muncie, Indiana. This episode is one you do not want to miss. First up, Henry County Sheriff's Department is under the Henry County Sheriff's Department, under the piss-poor leadership of current Sheriff John M. Sproles, has put the county in a tough spot with its insurance yet again. The good news is Henry County will have insurance. The bad news is it will feel like the county doesn't have insurance. And we'll talk about that in a moment. It's safe to say that for the first portion of the show, we'll be under a Sproles watch. Be sure to help spread the word, share the show with anyone that wants to know. We then move on to the City of Muncie and the weekly Board of Works meeting that took place earlier today, Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. Oops, I got a zero in there. Of course, there were claims, and which are always important. However, the big news of the meeting was the announcement that this would be Board of Works member Linda Gregory's last meeting. She is stepping away from public service after 12 years as a Muncie City Councilor and 6 years on the board. Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour did not announce his pick for her replacement. However, sources at City Hall have indicated that it would be local attorney Alan Wisely, a young lapdog Republican who, like Democrat Gregory and the other two Board of Work members, will be a rubber stamp for Mayor Ridenour. So that gives you a good description of what we're going to talk about. And I do my very best to stick to those descriptions. So that's how you will have to see it. Like the thumbnails, spending an hour trying to come up with a title that fits everything that I'm going to talk about in a certain number of words is just an absolute waste of my time. It is not. It's breaking me down. I'm needing to spend more time doing actual work than trying to figure out a freaking title. So the titles of the show are going to be 612, 613, 614, but no one can say, oh, well, we don't know what that is, because I describe it everywhere. I put it out on Facebook. I put it on Twitter. I put it in the description. You will know what each show is going to be about. I just want to let everybody know when you start seeing that, that's what the deal is. And the thing is, they're like, Bilbrey's turned to AI. That's the problem. If I did AI, it would be so much better. But I can't bring myself to do that crap, because you can tell it's AI and it doesn't speak like I want it to speak. So fortunately, we're not going to AI. But that's just kind of where we are. So that's just something for you guys to know in the future. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on now to Henry County insurance problems. Before we get started, okay, you see the magic there. Oh, it is also a good way. And listen, it's honestly, I didn't think about it until I was saying it. I didn't think about it until I said it about increasing views, but it is what it is. We'll see. If we have a dip, I'll work it out. But the titles are killing me, specifically because sometimes I talk about too much and there's just not enough room in the title, because I'm only being able to deal with 100 characters, and that's nonsensical. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I feel like it's a safe place in Henry County to remind everybody of where we started in Henry County. All right. All the way back in, when did this occur? Let's try to find out if we can find out. I don't know if I can. Oh yeah, right here.
Right on there, dude.
Yeah, right here. The January 14th of 2024. So it seems like it's been years ago, but it wasn't that long, honestly, which is very strange because it seems like a lifetime ago. It is what it is. Okay. All the way back in January of 2024. And I guess it's that because Sproles ran for office. When did Sproles run for office? He ran for office in 2022. He took office then on January 1st of 2023. So his first year in office was January 1, 2023 through December 31st of 2023. So then that next January would be he would be 1 year in, starting his second year. And already in his first year, he had already done so much insanity. He had violated my First Amendment rights. He had shot Marquette Neal at point blank range with a less lethal beanbag round that needed to be further away while he was trapped in a cage in the jail. Okay, he did that. He had been extremely rude and violated the rights and done a whole bunch of crazy shit with police officer from Shirley, Officer Roger Humphreys. He had been extremely out of line with a dance team from out of state. He had, and then all kinds of other just wild stuff that he had done in a real quick time. He and his fellow officers had done a bunch of crazy things with Elvante Riddick. Rightly or wrongly, whatever Elvante was doing, right or wrong, the things that Sproles were doing were not right. They were wrong, and they all caused these issues. And so he had done so much damage to the Henry County Sheriff's Department and to Henry County as a whole that by the start of his second year, actually even beforehand, because this all took place in his first year, his insurance company, Travelers Insurance, had got a hold of his, had reached out to his, the county's insurance go-between, the liaison, and they said, hey, we got a problem. We've got a serious, demeaning county officials, showing his ass in county meetings. It just goes and goes and goes. So I want you to hear a little short. This is a snippet of a Henry County Commissioners meeting where the county's insurance guy, Josh Estel, is up at the podium. He has his back to us, and he's talking to the three commissioners. And the commissioners at that time was Steve Dellinger, Bobby Plummer, and Joel Wiley. Now, Joel Wiley has always been known to be a buddy to Sheriff Sproles. Dellinger and Bobby just wanted him to do his damn job and to not get the county sued and to not do a bunch of crazy shit. That's all they ever asked for him. He says they hate him and they were going after him. They just wanted him to act like a professional and to not be a maniac. That's all. That's all they wanted. Let's listen to what the county insurance man told the county commissioners at this meeting on January 14th of 2024. Let's listen to him here.
My anticipation would be that Travelers would cancel the entire policy July 15th. The state law basically says that to cancel a policy midterm, there has to be material and unforeseen change in exposure with the insured. I mean, I don't want to get into that now. I mean, Joel and I are having conversations about that in the merit of whether this really can be done. But the lines that they are claiming that they have changed, their reasoning for canceling was basically dramatic change in risk management procedures with the sheriff's department. My anticipation
would listen to this again.
Would cancel the entire policy July 15th. The state law basically says that to cancel a policy midterm, there has to be material and unforeseen change in exposure with the insured. I mean, I don't want to get into that now. I mean, Joel and I are having conversations about that in the merit of whether this really can be done. But
right here,
the lines that they are claiming that they have changed, their reasoning for canceling was basically dramatic change in risk management procedures with the sheriff's department.
A dramatic change in risk management with the sheriff's department. Okay? I want to be very clear. This does not happen. If you have the most pristine, upstanding law enforcement officers that don't violate people's rights. They're not racist. They have an equal playing field of men and women and blacks and Hispanics and Chinese and Japanese and Korean and Muslims and everybody that you could possibly think of. Okay? Anyone that should be a cop, they're the very best. They don't shoot people that shouldn't be shot. They don't beat people that shouldn't be beat. They do absolutely everything right. They still get sued. It just happens. It just happens. Okay? Law enforcement on the bestest day of all time is a job in which people are not going to be happy, and rightly or wrongly, you might get sued. It just happens. So the companies that work for these departments and cover them know and understand that, and they don't drop they don't drop counties, they don't drop departments, because it's just part of the job. Okay, it is part of the job. For a department to be dropped, something wild has to be going on. Okay. And you heard Josh Estel say right there that they were looking into this. They were looking in to see if it was even legal. Because they weren't sure. It turns out that it was, in fact, legal, that they could do it because of the dramatic change in risk management that Sproles leadership had brought on. And they needed to be protected. The insurance company wanted to be protected. And they, I think that they were like, hey, we want away from this guy. We want away from this guy. We want away from his officers, his deputies. We want away from his department. And it's a no-go. It's no good. Okay. I now want to take you, ladies and gentlemen, to the next page. Okay. The next page, we're going to listen to this. All right. And that is, here we go. I want you to listen to this. These are just real quick shorts.
What do you think this is going to do to our deductible range?
Well, I would say that the law enforcement deductible was likely to go up some in July. I would say in the short run that we will probably be looking at somewhat high. I mean, it would not surprise me if we have a $25,000 deductible right now in law. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't land at 100. I mean, but I don't definitively know that.
What do you think?
Jumping from 25,000 to 100,000. And let me tell you, it didn't go to 100,000. It went to 150,000. And that jump did happen. Whoa, big. Okay. Let's move on. That was number 2. Let's now move on to number 3. We have to set the stage here, ladies and gentlemen. This is number 3.
This could be a blessing in disguise, because one thing that I found right off the bat with travelers is they just want to write a check and settle. And that, in my opinion, and I've talked to the Sheriff's Association about it, we feel very strongly in this matter that that type of stuff, it increases the desire for people to file frivolous lawsuits. The first that I was named in, we wanted to settle. Oh, let's just settle. We hadn't even talked about it.
John?
Yeah. This could be a blessing in disguise.
Okay, so I want to let you know what's going on here. So first of all, he's mad because the insurance company is telling him, hey, some of these, we just need to get these out of here. We need to write checks. They weren't telling him that because the suits were frivolous and they could be easily defeated. Travelers Insurance is not in the business to lose money. They want to keep every dime they can. They're not wanting to pay money out. The suits that they paid out were suits that were him doing some of his worst. Okay. He did everything he could, fighting, kicking, screaming to fight ours and to tell me that mine, it was nuts and crazy and bad. And they lost at every turn in our suit. Okay. And they were defeated by his own ignorance and his own actions. And then even there, and it cuts off because shorts can only be a minute long. He starts to bring up specific lawsuits, and he was directly told by the county attorney not to do that. You can hear them. Listen right here. Listen right here.
We wanted to settle. Oh, let's just settle. We hadn't even talked about it.
John,
Yeah.
They start to admonish him there. Just really crazy. You can go back and listen to all of these on our playlist and all the long format shows. We have all of that out there. Okay, and then this is the last one, and then we get into what happened today, because I feel like this is needed to be here. And this is right around the time that I really started to have a ton of respect for Steve Dellinger. Steve and I used to not see eye to eye. And look, it wasn't just this. There's a lot of other things that I really started thinking, okay, Dellinger's finally got his sea legs about him. He's starting to learn what's going on here. And I really started respecting what he was doing. But the fact that he was not going to bow down to Sheriff Sproles' authority and just kiss his ass is what I really thought. All right, that dude is on point. Listen to this.
The special deputies weren't the problems. The cars really weren't as big an issue. The training, the staffing, and all the other stuff. My understanding is it's the tort claim stuff involving you directly. So the other stuff right now doesn't affect or hadn't affected the sheriff's department. It's basically solely on the actions or the responses to things that from you. So I guess I hope this helps. And I guess some of the things when you settle stuff, it's because it's cheaper than what it costs you in the long run. And this is county taxpayer money is what we're dealing with. So I guess I hope this works out, and you and Josh and Joel we can work something out and get a carrier that'll take care of us, because now the whole county's at risk of losing our insurance.
Right, because of my action.
The special deputies weren't.
Yeah, right, because of my actions. Yeah, I think that's the one time he's actually stood in front of the commissioners and spoke the truth. Yes, because of your actions, dumbass.
No, but then he doesn't shut up with that statement.
Yeah,
he continues on and blusters and bluffs about why it's really not him.
That is 100% correct. But it was a good place for the short to end. It is what it is. All right. So that takes us to today. I was sitting at my grandparents, went over there to see how they were doing, spend some time with them, go eat lunch with them. Had an interesting Muncie Board of Works meeting that I observed today. Thought, hey, I'm going to talk about this, and it's going to be kind of a light evening. And I started being inundated with people saying, bro, you got to watch this special meeting. You got to watch this special meeting. You got to watch this special meeting. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I did. Now, this special meeting, you can find this on YouTube. If you're from Henry County, I highly recommend you go back and watch all 47 minutes of this from start to finish. All 47 minutes. We're not going to watch all 47 minutes. We're going to jump through it, and we're going to go through it because we got a lot to talk about tonight. I highly recommend you go back and listen to this. But this was a special meeting that occurred this morning. And what this is this is another kind of come to Jesus meeting between Josh Estel and the commissioners. He's letting them know, again, the insurance man for the county, he's letting them know kind of what dire straits they are in. And that's the whole point of this meeting, because they were going to meet tonight and they needed to have this meeting so they could kind of have an understanding of what was going on. So we see this as the old circuit courthouse. That's what they used to call it. They're obviously not there. They are in the sheriff's department, and the meeting is getting underway. So what we see here, what number is it? What number is what? What number is the meeting today? It's just today's meeting. So it would have been, it would be, it says Henry County Commissioner Special Meeting 2/25/26. So it's right there at the bottom. That's what today's meeting are. There are two meetings. So we're going to listen to this, and then we're going to listen to tonight's meeting. So the setup on this is we're in the sheriff's department area. These three individuals here, and then this fourth one over here. This is the auditor, Debbie, who's the auditor. She's outgoing. The man in the suit here, this is Joel Harvey. He's the county attorney. All right. And then here's Steve Dellinger. And then there is Susan Hoon. And Susan Hoon is a friend of Sproles. One of the commissioners, Joel Wiley, is absent. Joel Wiley is not here. So they only have two commissioners here for this special meeting. They've got the two commissioners, the county attorney, and the auditor. And then this man here in the white sitting down to talk to them is Joshua Estel.
News is all relative, right? I think 60 days ago, like there was going to be questions of would we have an insurance company that would want to take us? The answer to that question is yes. I show you here kind of a marketing summary. So you guys know there's probably like 5 kind of standard, what I would call standard public sector markets in Indiana that would insure a county that has a jail. It's obviously pretty limited. Even when everything's going really well with your law enforcement, it's a really tough exposure and things still happen. So I'm not going to belabor the market summary, but you can just see that we've covered our bases because, you know, the bottom ones that say decline, starting kind of where Travelers, those are going to be the Travelers plus Liberty, who's kind of in the middle. Those are going to be kind of your standard, what I would call day-to-day markets for municipalities. The others are really specialty markets for troubled accounts. They're specialty type programs that have like either all lines aggregate deductibles or more of a large deductible option. And I will say, I mean, we strategically place large accounts in large deductible programs where we think it makes sense for them. Like Newcastle Schools has been on a large deductible work comp program for a lot of years, and their total premium that they would spend on workers' comp, when we flesh that out, by taking that large deductible and self-funding some of it against what they would pay fully insured, they save a lot of money. So I don't want this to seem like this is not normal for accounts to do large deductible programs. Unfortunately, you're just being forced into it at this point because of our experience. Okay. So when we compare this to last year, it's not good.
So this is kind of an interesting thing. This happens and people purposefully do this, but what he said there is important. This isn't something that they're just deciding to do out of, for whatever strategic reason. They are being forced to do what's happening here. So keep that in mind. Okay.
If we did find a carrier that would have been willing to do this under similar terms, I would say when we looked at the numbers, we might have chosen to do the large deductible because versus paying $2 million in premium, let's pay $1 million in premium and try to hopefully have good claims experience. And then, we're better off than we would have been. So if you look at the color coded sheet, I'm going to start there. Just a kind of a recap. So currently in the green, Trident, who non-renewed all the coverages that they're on in that top section, which is general liability, employee benefits liability, which is a part of that, the sexual abuse and molestation, the automobile liability, and then the $4 million umbrella. And that umbrella set over everything but the public officials, employment practices, and law enforcement. So that umbrella was only specific to the general liability, auto, sexual abuse coverages. Okay, so we get the $5 million. As Joel knows, and you guys might remember, we're not grabbing the $5 million out of the air. The Indiana tort cap for claims that come in state court is $700,000 per person and $5 million per claim. So $5 million is
every meeting Joel and I go to that we talk about this, we're typically, that's the number that municipalities are buying, because it doesn't give you full immunity because there are federal, bypasses, but it gives you immunity from most claims that would land in state court. So last year we had those 5 million in coverages with Trident. Then we had a 2 million underlying law enforcement liability policy that you see there with Kinsale, and then a 3 million excess tower with Indian Harbor on the law. So between Kinsale and Indian Harbor, we got to the 5 million on the law enforcement. Then we had a $5 million tower on public officials and employment practices with Chubb. So instead of where in a traditional arrangement, we might find a carrier that would be willing to write a 4 million umbrella over all those underlying, we were forced 2 years ago because nobody wanted the law enforcement to write towers on a couple of the lines of coverage and have the umbrella only sit over the auto and general liability. At the bottom, you can see deductibles. So deductible, SIR stands for self-insured retention, which is just another word for deductible. So let's talk about on the right in the blue, what we're proposing today. So Obsidian is, if you think about what we do on the health insurance side, where we have a third-party administrator, then we buy reinsurance coverage on the backside. That's essentially what we're being forced to do here. So we're going to have a third-party administrator, which is JWF Specialty. They're in Indianapolis. They're a public
JWF
specialist third-party administrator claims adjuster on property and casualty. We have a handful of public sector clients with them, like Anderson Community Schools is one. So we have a lot of familiarity. They do a really, really good job. So handling claims. Trident actually didn't even have their own adjusters either. They use a third-party administrator, very similar. This is going to be probably better experience. I know we probably didn't feel like we got great experience adjustment-wise on the auto from Trident. So I think this will be a better experience. But essentially on non-property and equipment and work comp, and cyber and Chubb too, sorry. So really we're talking general liability, auto physical damage, they would administer the claims. Okay. So we would report the claim to them like a carrier, kind of like we do UGS on the benefit side. They would service us, adjudicate the claim.
And so here's what's going to be really big for the sheriff's department for Henry County. We're going to want to hear what's going to happen with general liability and auto liability. That's going to be the big things specifically for the sheriff's department. Okay. We're going to listen to what's happening here.
Pay the claim. If it was in excess of the deductible, then they would send a claim to Obsidian for reimbursement to them. So you're never going to fund anything more than your deductible up front. So they're going to administer that part. And then we've got Obsidian sitting in the background. That's a $5 million tower on the general liability, employee benefits, sexual abuse, and auto from a liability standpoint. Okay. Auto physical damage we need to talk about. So Obsidian can only do 2 million of auto physical damage on a blanket basis. So that's per claim. So one of the decisions that we have to make today is, do we feel comfortable that 2 million is enough in any particular loss? Or do we have concerns at the highway or sheriff's department or parks department, or a concern that we could have a tornado that hits multiple locations?
Listen to this, Rachel.
Where we could have more than $2 million in damage to vehicles. So comp and collision. And I know the number that you guys gave me at highway was like 2.4. So what we did, Debbie, I think you sent us that asset report. We took all the vehicles on the asset report and it was just under 10 million. So we got an excess auto quote that would just be for what we call yard cat losses. So it's not going to cover them on the road, but you're not going to have more than 2 million on the road. So it would be there if we had a windstorm or a hail or a fire where there was a bunch of vehicles concentrated sitting. We quoted an excess of $7.5 million. So that would give us 9.5 total. And I apologize, that's one box off and I didn't notice it until I was on my way here. But if you look at the far right, that $7.5 million is $17,500.
Sproles is a tornado.
In the far right blue box, if you see that. So we can either feel comfortable with 2 million, or for 17,000, we can bump that while vehicles are sitting to a max of 9.5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the scenarios that this could happen is what I'm concerned with, because you're talking the highway and the park, it could.
I mean, to me, a fire at the highway or a wind event at one of those places is probably the most likely thing.
Because you're talking highway department and park are all right there together.
Right.
The question is, do we want the additional 7.5 million?
Yes, and you don't have to answer that now. If you want to move on through the program and then we can talk about it, or if you want to address it while we're on it, we can do that too.
I feel like we probably do.
We're going to have to make a decision,
Right.
because if not, we run out of coverage at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, 3-1. And again,
Now listen to this.
The state of Indiana only requires 45 days notice to non-renew a policy. Most of our carriers are pretty courteous about giving us a longer term, but unfortunately we got this like at 60 days. So it was kind of a tight window. Again, I would have loved to have been here a month ago and given you time to talk and think through it. But the reality was, like, I mean, literally, we were finishing this up this morning. Like, so, because we were just waiting to make sure we had all the markets covered. So yeah, so that's questions as we come out of the gate. That's one question.
Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Sproles has done a couple things right. I'm going to tell you what those things are. Sproles has fought for his guys to get raises. And across the state of Indiana, that's a big thing. What's happening right now is a bunch of little departments keep putting people on, keep sending them to the academy, and then keep losing those guys once they get them good and trained up to bigger departments or even smaller departments, but that pay more. Okay? And that's a problem. So I can give John an attaboy for fighting for his men and women. I don't know if there are any women that are on the department as merit, but I know there are in the jail. So I can give him an attaboy for what he's done for the money for his deputies and his COs. He's done pretty well with getting them cars. Now, I don't like the way that he went about it, but wherever we're here, they've got cars. Now, they keep wrecking them right and left, so I don't know how special that is, but it is what it is. If he would have just stuck to doing that and kept his ass in the office and not been a hero or not tried to do all this nonsense, he would have been a great sheriff. He would have been just fine. Okay, nobody would have said shit about him. But when you go to vote, whether you early vote or you go on the day, and you're somebody who says, you know, I like Sproles. He seems wholesome. He seems like a good guy, and he's done some things, and I really like what he's done. I need you to think back to moments like this and know that everything that's going on, it's not all Sproles' fault because his guys have been involved too. But a lot of those same guys were people on the department before, and why don't other cops have this problem all over the world? It's the leadership. It is the culture of chaos that Sproles has allowed to grow within the Henry County Sheriff's Department. And it's been his leadership or lack thereof that has caused this to happen. So don't let your mind trick yourself when you're going to cast a vote for this clown. This is all a result of his lack of leadership.
And that I would call an option. If you want to look at good news, the two law enforcement layers, they still have the $150,000 deductible, but the two law enforcement layers, the deductible didn't change, and the premium actually went down about $30,000 on the two law towers.
That's right.
The Chubb public officials, the $5 million there. We've had some claims there. No change in deductible, and what I call pretty modest, change in pricing there. So that's good. I mean, obviously, if you look at the far right, the auto general liability is the pain point. I'm not going to get into details on talking about current litigation because we can't, but I think people know what's driving that. So I think we need to probably belabor that in this public meeting.
And I don't really know what Estill means when he says people know what's driving that. Like, I hope, I can't think that he's a friend of Sproles or he likes Sproles. I have to hope that he thinks, man, this dude is a total lunatic. And he's making my job so hard, and he's screwing this up for Henry County. I have to believe that he thinks that. I hope he's not someone saying, like, people hate Sproles, so they're going and they're suing him. I hope he realizes that it's Sproles' lunacy that causes all of this.
He's talking about a specific case that's currently in litigation.
Mm-hmm.
And the price tag on that one is between $1.5 and $2 million.
Well, and we're going to hear in another meeting that happens here in just a bit, when we get through this one, we're going to hear it actually, Dellinger actually reads an email about it and lets everybody know what it is. And so we'll hear it. Just let's keep going.
But here's so there's two, I mean, the two things that I would say are painful. I mean, obviously, if you look at the bottom line premium, that's going up pretty significantly, and it's all driven by that mainly the auto line, honestly. And if you go down under deductibles,
he used the word painful. That's his word. What's painful?
In the blue, no changes on the lines I noted, but there's three things I want you guys to understand. So general liability deductible today is 0 per claim. It's going to 100,000 per claim. The auto liability today deductible is 0. It's going to $250,000 per claim. And by the way, that was the lowest. Every one of these other programs had a $500,000 auto per claim deductible. And then on the auto physical damage, so that's comp and collision, that's a $25,000 per claim aggregate deductible. So.
All right, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to me. He said general liability deductible going from 0 to 100K per claim. Per claim. Per claim. Auto liability deductible going from 0 to $250,000 per claim. Per claim. Auto physical deductible, 25K deductible aggregate. That's not, if it was just that, okay, whatever. But it's these, really the top two, that just make it like, oh shit. All right.
He does not mention in this meeting, there's also the sexual liability insurance.
Yeah.
For sexual assault. That's going from 0 to 100,000 per claim. Something for employees liability that is going from 0 to $100,000 per claim. The only one that's not changing right now is that the law enforcement liability is staying at $150,000 per claim.
Okay. Which was, $150,000.
That was the one they jacked up.
That's last go in January of 24. So, I mean, dude, okay. Well, we're not done. We're not done. Yeah, it's a deal of a lifetime. And that's what he said. Listen, the other companies were wanting 500,000. What happens if this company, something happens and this company says, no, we're done. We're not doing it. That's not including the Rex. Yeah. Absolutely. Operation Pullover 365. Yeah.
2 ways. So that means if we have that major loss at the highway, it's 25,000 total. Same with the park. If we have 2 vehicles in a pursuit and they're both damaged, that's 1 deductible. Okay. We had a couple other options that had per vehicle deductibles that were a little bit lower, and they were slotted based on the value of the vehicle, but they went from 5,000, 10,000, and 25,000 deductibles per vehicle based on the value. So if you went like 50 and under was 5,000, 50 to 100 was 10, and then 100 and over was 25, but it did not have any aggregate. So if we had a 5-6 highway vehicles damaged at one time that are higher values, I mean, we could be looking at hundreds of thousands in deductible under that program. So, and the premium was like double. The premium was like 125,000 instead of 60. So I'm proposing this one. I mean, all of this is awful. My hope is that this is a one or
this is imagine you go in to buy a car and you sit down with a car salesman and they put the paperwork out in front of you and they say, hey, all of this is awful. Imagine you go to the doctor. You go into your doctor and you run tests and you do things and they go in for your results and they say, oh, they sit you down and they say, hey, listen, all of this is awful. There's never anything good. Nothing good comes when someone says, hey, all of this is awful. The only thing like I could think is like if you're talking to your divorce attorney and it's like about your wife or your husband's case, and he's like, hey, all of that's awful. All of this is awful. You're like, yeah, yay, okay, great. Because the words, all of this is awful, is not good. I want you, when you're going in to vote for John Sproles, to think, John Sproles, all of this is awful. That is his campaign slogan. Josh Estel just picked Sproles' campaign slogan for the rest of the time as far as the show's concerned. John Sproles, all of this is awful. Listen, and I'm laughing because the only other thing to do is cry. I don't live here. This is not affecting me. I hate this for the citizens of Henry County. I told you guys, and I'm working on finding it. I'm working on finding that episode. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to play it for you guys. It was back in October 2022, I think. I'm going to see if I can find it. Listen to me. I warned you. I hate saying it. Don't make me say this. Don't make me wake up on November 7th or whatever the next day after the election day is and say, what did you guys do again?
Track. But I want to show you, hopefully, to maybe scare you less anyway.
To scare you
I
less.
did an analysis back 5 years. And if we had these deductibles for the last 5 years, what it would have cost the county. So if you go over to the total spend within SIR, self-insured retention, you can see by year what we would have funded deductible the last 5 years. So on average, it would be $150,000 paid in deductible. You can see there were years where it was less than that. Obviously, 2024 was not good. And you can see the carrier would have paid still $1 million that year because we had, again, one claim that you know what it is that's going to be $1.5 million, $2 million probably when it's all said and done. Or at least that's what the reserve looks like. So
listen to that.
So, I mean,
we have
the
one
good news
claim.
is, again, like
It's going
when
to
we
be
started this analysis,
$1.5 to $2 million when it's all said and done from 2024. I'm dressing up as Sproles for Halloween. We'll talk about that one claim that's going to be $1.5 to $2 million here in just a bit.
I was worried that number was going to be 400,000 or 500,000, like that we could have, and we have that exposure without a doubt. I mean, the exposure is out there, but historically, on the lines where we're seeing deductible, if we remove a couple of the really big incidents, like we don't have a ton of frequency outside of the sheriff's department on auto, like we just don't. And
hear it, hear that? Outside of the sheriff's department in the auto, like, look, dude, take away all of the crazy shit that Sproles and his guys have done. Hell, they can't drive. They can't drive. Listen, cops wreck. You get pursuits and shit happens. Muncie's got 110 guys. I don't know. We don't ever wreck cars. Sheriff's Department doesn't ever wreck cars up here. We have double the guys that Henry County has on the road. Our people don't wreck cars. Maybe one a year. You might have cars that are old and blow up. You know what I mean?
so I think there's a little silver lining there in what the numbers say. And at the very bottom, just if you wanted to consider it, if you wanted to go from 25,000 to 50,000 on the per event deductible on the auto physical damage, it's a $30,000 a year savings. And then Chubb gave options on public officials to increase deductibles. And I'm not sure it's the time that the lines that are stable and have lower deductibles that we'd want to take on more risk in those, given what we're doing on a couple of the other lines, but it's an option. It's out there. I want to share one other thing just because I think this gives you kind of some perspective. On paper, not terrible. But nobody else wanted to insure us in 2024. That's how bad it was. Now, this is claimed since 2015. In 2024, when we were where we were, that we thought this is the worst it could be, we had 2 million going back to 1/1/15 in the liability only. So we're talking law enforcement, general liability, auto liability. Okay. So this is not property, not auto physical damage. This is just our liability claims across those lines. We had either in that time period, 2,063,000 either paid or reserved. Reserve means, so the carriers by law, when a claim comes in, they have to project what they think that claim is going to pay out as accurately as possible. That reserve gets posted because when we talk about Department of Insurance solvency, those kind of things, they need to accurately try to project future liabilities that they might have on claims for finance, solvency, all that. So,
Kate, am I right? Am I right in saying that from 2015 to 2024, it was $2 million?
In 2024,
Yeah.
that was what had not been settled or was due to be paid out. Now, I don't know how long a tort claim can last, but I don't imagine it's 9 years.
Yeah.
2, 3, maybe 4 or 5. So I think you're probably going back to maybe 2019.
Okay.
But in 2024, it's $2 million that's either going to be paid or that they're holding back, expecting to have.
It could be paid.
Correct.
But as of today,
Oh,
the claims are, has he said it yet? Let's let him
not
say
quite
it.
yet.
Let's let him say it. Listen to what the claims are today. So in 2024, it's $2 million. Listen to what the claims are as today. So basically what's happened from 2024 to today. So like 2 years. Actually, a year, a whole year, and then like 2 months.
So it was our worst moment. We had $2 million of paid open claims. Today we have 4.4 in that same period. So
In that same period, we have 4.4 million. 4.4 million. When you go to vote for John Sproles, whether you're sitting at your kitchen table and doing a mail-in ballot, whether you're doing going early in voting, or you're going on the day. And listen, folks, I'm not talking about November. I'm not even going to mess with straight ticket. This man needs to be beat in the primary. So straight ticket can't play a role in this. For any of you people out there that say, yeah, he's a good guy, I want you to tell yourself $4.4 million. And then vote for him if you're going to, I guess.
we basically doubled in the 2 years where we thought couldn't get worse. We've doubled our claim
They thought they couldn't get worse. In 2024, they thought this is as bad as it could be.
exposure out there. Some of that are new claims that have come in. If you look back, some of those claims, like back to 10/25, 2020, that's a reserve increase. So that claim was 95,000 on that date. Now it's sitting at 217. It's still open. I'm not defending the carriers with this statement. I certainly see their position, but this helps illustrate what they see. As bad as it was 2 years ago, it's not trending right. And that's what they're going to, look at is the historical, the trends and what's happened. So, I will tell you, there's a bunch of counties in Indiana that are on these types of programs. Some of them is because their size and it's advantageous. Some of them it's because they have problems too. It's not a death sentence. I think
Amy Bell, I want to make sure I see you on here. Did you hear what I said? Have you watched the video about your husband's videos that I went to watch the other day? If you haven't, I need to get a hold of you tomorrow. But I just wanted to say that.
we continue to monitor this, and if things improve, if things change, there's nothing that says a year from now that we don't have options open back up.
The first spreadsheet you showed us where the averaging.
There's nothing that says it's not going to get worse. There's a very, very good possibility that it can and will get worse. Listen to me, folks. I want to tell you, Lord in heaven above, my heart, my prayers, my thoughts go out to Nick Gully and his family and his loved ones, and I pray for a miracle. I pray for your will to be done in that situation. Be with him, be with his family, be with the doctors, be with the nurse, be with the janitors. Whatever needs to happen, please, please, please wrap your hands around him. And I speak no ill out, but God forbid, if something should happen and he should not make it through this,
Annual spend would have been 156,000. That's above, that's the additional that it would be under the new deductibles.
Amen. Absolutely.
Correct.
Because prior we did not have deductibles in those areas.
We don't
Okay.
have deductibles now.
Okay. They're thinking, they're looking.
As a general side comment, and fortunately or unfortunately, we live in a world where there's a lot of access to information. So 10 years ago, when we went to underwrite, really what they had to go on was what's on the loss runs.
Are you
And
pointing to something?
right now, like
Or this
sometimes
comment?
something will happen that hits the media before I've even seen it, and I'm getting a call from the carrier because they've seen it on social media, on the news. So like, I would just say right now, like the environment surrounding us, in addition to what's on paper, it's easy for someone to see things going on. And I mean, I got asked about stuff that's not on the loss runs that underwriters they're searching out there when they underwrite for what's going on. And so, I mean, that also is a component of this that if you were to talk to the underwriter, it's another thing they're going to say, like, just that it doesn't feel like a positive environment. Like,
Welcome
what's
to the
going on. And right, wrong,
underwriters.
or indifferent, frivolous or not. I mean, the feeling is that we're a target right now, and whether they're legitimate or not, the carriers don't want to be a target on the back. On their
Hey,
backs.
oh,
And so that's, again,
I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that. You know, Henry County's not a target. Henry County's not a target. Is the carrier in the room with us now? Henry County's not a target. Henry County is in a situation where John Sproles is a dumbass. That's simple. That's it. That's it. If you remove his dumb ass from the... Listen, and I'm going to say for the first year or maybe 2 years after Sproles, whether that be in this next year or in, God forbid, 4 years from now, whoever takes over is going to deal with about a year or 2 years worth of shit that's still coming in based off what's happened under him. And that's going to suck, but you know, that's why it needs to happen sooner rather than later. Because can you imagine 4 more years of this?
something that beyond the numbers
Listen,
is something
and be sure, what I'm saying, could you imagine 4 more years of this? Also, that does not mean elect this jackass down here. Okay, this jackass has no business sitting in this room. I mean, he's a citizen, so sit away. But you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with all the different candidates. They probably all have their different horror stories. Landon, Bendover, the Nicholson, Williams, whatever. But just pick somebody. Flip a coin, draw straws, pick a name out of a hat, vote for, and the people got to get together and they got to pick a candidate that they're going to get behind, because there's so many people. I'm worried that people will split it all up, and that'll allow Sproles to sneak up the middle. Diane, what's Diane say? He's building his case. That's why. That's why he's building his case. The carrier search social media and mark situations that have potential to become lawsuits. Is that what I'm understanding? Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. They listen to that, and they listen and they hear. And so I want to just put this out there. If there's ever been anybody in a situation that something's happened either in the past or recently or whatever, we would love to help put that out there if people are so willing. So let us know, because, maybe whatever. But I do want to say that, this is crazy.
Like right now, in terms of underwriters having access to things that are going on. So, I would say that's the whole picture. I'm happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I think that the real decisions are the auto physical damage, that extra $7.5 million, and then if you wanted to look at possible deductibles, which again, I don't necessarily think the savings makes sense for what's being proposed. But so I think really probably the big decision is do you want that extra auto physical damage, and then just obviously, if formality purposes, if you want to move forward with this, that we approve it. Little bit probably more stringent, probably billing in terms of we've got to pay the Obsidian piece in 21 days from the first.
Listen, they've got to pay Obsidian in 21 days. Okay. How much do they have to pay Obsidian? Let's listen.
So just throwing that out there, where with our other carriers, sometimes we get like 60-day terms. Like we can be more flexible with you guys. Like we have to pay them in 21 days. So by the end of March, he told me if it came in the last week of March, like we'll work through that. But just I'm being transparent.
I want you guys to know the challenge, because it's up to, they help us on, it's up to Bobby and I to go through and break these out as the each department gets one, so.
And we can help you with
Yeah.
as much as we
Yeah,
can.
you guys
Yeah.
have a lot.
Yeah.
That's total. That's what they-
It's around $1,075,000.
In 21 days?
In 21 days, because of all of this bullshit, tell yourself this when you're going to vote for John Sproles. John Sproles put the county in such a situation that at a meeting on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026, Josh Estel informed the commissioners, and the council knows, and then they've known for a while, but they will have to pay $1,075,000 to Obsidian in 21 days. That's just money they're handing over for bullshit.
I would say 30 days.
30 days, a million something, okay, thank you.
I mean, here's the other option that we can look at. We do have premium finance options available. So we have basically deals with banks that specialize in insurance where you could put 25% down and for an interest
Deals
rate
with
over
banks.
months. I mean, we could do that. That would be the only option.
And our open claims are the same way, though, with your previous carrier.
That's
or
correct.
Previous.
Well, I think we got
Deductible.
14 of them on here, and that's what I was going to ask, was
Yeah.
those stay with the previous.
Yeah. So
Sounds
the,
like it.
anything on this sheet, anything that's, I guess, here's the other thing I would say, and I've already had this conversation with the sheriff's department. If there is anything out there that we know about that could possibly be a claim, even if it's just we put a report only on it, like in case something comes up, we want to report it this week, because then it's going to be under the old policies. So it probably makes sense to shoot a note to department heads and say, if there was any event that you know about that could result in a claim on any line, even if, hey, somebody, tripped and fell at the Smith building and it happened, like some of that, like the general liability is an occurrence-based policy. So if somebody, it really is not going to apply to the.
If you pulled somebody over off duty and you did some crazy shit, if you beat somebody down and left them naked in the cell for like 7 days, if somebody tripped and fell, if somebody caught cold because it was inside while they're working, anything happening.
Auto liability and general liability, but like anything else that we know that could apply on the claims made policies, which are the policies that are enforced. So like the employee benefits liability, some of those are, anything like that, we just want to get it reported.
I'm not a mathematician. They'll be at the payday
I
loan
assume we'll
soon.
vote tonight
Yeah, that's
for the
fine.
final decision,
Yeah.
but
Couldn't be there tonight.
No.
Hate to have you agree with that. You could get nickel and dimed on that, but you historically don't have a ton of frequency there. My bigger concern is you have another one of these pops on the auto liability. That's 250.
Mhm.
I mean, that claim would have been 250 right next week out of the county's pocket.
Actually, most of the things we've recently had, we're gonna take all of them.
What do people think? What's the chances of there going to be something that pops up that they don't know about or they don't talk about? You know what I mean? They're not.
no, but we do have the projection of what it would have been over the last 5 years. We actually budgeted more than this average annual spend the last 2 years for deductibles. Didn't we? A couple $100,000.
You guys have done it on the side.
I think we added money into the commissioner's budget, I
I
thought.
think when we bumped the law deductible,
But most of the time on that liability line, because our insurance.
Diane,
on that
yeah.
so much, on that insurance line, we've been taking the sheriff's department portion out to pay the bills because we don't have it in other places to pay. So we pull that liability out from theirs to pay these bills instead of leaving it for deductibles, because
the big claims.
Listen,
typically
they're going to
are-
be sitting around and the commissioners are going to say, listen, I know this is probably not the best, but hear me out. We go into that evidence room and we get all the drugs and we chop it up and we sell it. Get any of the guns. There's a knife over there. It's got blood on it. I don't care. Get it, clean it. We're going to sell the guns. We're going to sell the knives. We're going to sell the drugs. That's how we get out of this mess.
Longer tails spread out. So, I mean, the chances of next year you having a $250,000 bill on an auto claim.
That was a
Probably
joke.
not
There,
great
I'm
unless
not.
we hit a school bus that's
I'm not saying
250,000
they're
and
going
it's
to do
total,
that. That was a
and we got
joke.
to pay property damage where it's pretty specific on, we know what it's going to cost to repair. Most bodily injury stuff goes on, for a long time. So from a cash flow standpoint, the one advantage is it probably.
There's not something that happened at the jail. We're getting ready to talk about the big claim. You're going to hear about it here in a minute. You're going to hear. It's not the. So I'm going to tell you. You don't need to be giving them ideas. I want to tell you guys something. Let me make sure that I can release this. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. I'm going to pause. Well, I'll let this play while I'm looking this up.
The bigger claims get spread out. It could be over 4 or 5 years that you fund a deductible.
One other thing to note, most of these claims have at least a 2-year statute of limitations. So it's not uncommon for cases that you'll get a tort notice and then it'll sit for 18 months. And then, at 22 months in, you'll get a lawsuit filed.
Yeah. I mean, Joel knows this,
Yeah.
we get a ton of lawsuits in month 22, 23, where they file a tort notice within 180 days and it just sits there and then they make a decision at the end to
File
file suit. Yeah.
Yeah. This will be future years where a lot of the litigation related expenses probably will be incurred.
So, I mean, the one positive would be if in a year or two we could get off of this program, we might be able to spread these deductibles over a 4 or 5 year period if we incur them and get back on a standard program to kind of have that, trail out. But none of us can see the future, but it's, some of the bigger ones would definitely be over time.
Will JWF be just as incentivized to settle as our current situation?
So anything under the deductible, you're gonna have the say. It'll all be up to you.
It'll be up to us.
It'll be all up to you. Once it gets to an amount where they know that the stop loss carrier is going to be involved, then they will get involved with consent above your retention.
Okay.
So, I mean, if we got a nuisance claim in and we got on call JWF and they said, hey, if we can defend this.
So one thing I can tell you is, and I can release this. Does everybody remember Stacy Smith? Does everybody remember she was the lady who was in the jail, went on a fairly minor situation, and she ended up being tied to the chair. They were tasing her, threatening her with tasing. Just a horrible situation. She was, and this is embarrassing, but it's been out there and we've talked about it. While she was in jail, she was currently menstruating, and they would not allow her to have a clean tampon, a clean sanitary pad. They wouldn't let her do any of that. They were being very abusive and left her tied to the chair naked. Do you remember all that? Everybody remember all that? Well, that also Sproles said was frivolous, complete bullshit. That didn't happen. That she came out victorious. Her case came out victorious. And that happened. So that was a big, big, big issue in 2024, I believe.
Now, was anyone reprimanded, fired, or anything else because of that case?
I'm going to try and look into that. I don't know as of yet. I do know that there's a non-disclosure. So
That's fine.
I know that there's not going to be a lot that anyone can say, but we should be able to look and see if there are people that were let go or whatnot. I don't know as of yet. If anyone out there knows, please let us know, and I will reach out to a couple of my sources behind the scenes. But that was a big situation, and Sproles is basically he's lost every one of these. Lost every single one.
We're projecting it's going to cost $100,000 in fence if we take this over the next 2 years, or we can write a check today for 10 and settle it. They're going to come to you and Joel and me and say, what do you want to do?
Yes,
and then
Admiral.
we'll talk about it. But they are going to be in their niche is public sector, school. I mean, the general liability is a lot of slip, trip, and fall stuff. You guys are already, we've got 40 risk management employees. We can do mock DOT audits. We can do fleet safety training. We've got an automate safety platform
Pretty.
where you can track maintenance on vehicles and do some of
Just
those
really right under about a year and a half
things.
which
We certainly
for
have
something like that's pretty quick.
all those things. I mean, they'd be great on paper a year from now to tie with the fact that we have a better claims year. But that on this, there's way more information out there for these people to access.
I know one of our conferences, one of the insurance carriers told us they said you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll pull that in.
Talk to them, continue to paint it in the best light we can. It would be good to have some ammunition with that to why we're different than we were during this period. More in a regular commissioners meeting. Want me to come talk about it at a high level or not? Okay.
It's gonna be the breakdown part.
Okay, all right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of that meeting. I would highly, highly, highly recommend anybody that's cares about this at all, anybody from Henry County, go back and listen to that meeting. You can find it at the Henry County IN. It's Henry space County, no space IN, Henry County IN. I wish they would fix that, but you can go there and you can listen to that, and I would highly recommend you doing that. Okay, from there, we are, yes, I've been in contact with Stacy. I don't really push her because I know there's a non-disclosure, so there's a lot of things that she can't say because there's a non-disclosure. But yeah, if you want to reach out to her and tell her to reach back out to me. I haven't talked to her on the phone. We just messaged. But okay, we're going to now, ladies and gentlemen, kick into the meeting in the same room also this evening. So that meeting with Josh Estel was today, this morning. And now this was the regularly scheduled meeting also on Henry space County IN. It's the Henry County Commissioners regular meeting 2/25/26. And I would highly recommend you guys go listen to this. This is an hour long. It's not long. The last meeting was like 47 minutes. It was quick. But we're going to play this, and this is not going to be long. We're not going to listen to all of this. We basically listen to all of that. I try jumping as fast as I can. I'm going to slow the play speed down because we're just going to listen to a few minutes of this meeting. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. They talk about lots of different things. We're only going to listen to the part about the insurance. Okay. So you might want to go back. It's definitely worth listening to for other things. So here we go.
And insurance, do we want to go ahead and discuss that now, or do we want to, it's not on there. You want to do it under new business, or do you want to go?
And really quickly, all three commissioners are here at this regular scheduled meeting. Susan Hoon, Steve Dellinger, Joel Wiley. We've got attorney Joe Wiley and Joel Harvey. And then we've got Debbie from the auditor's office and one of her assistant girls, one of the deputy auditors. So they're in here, and he's asking if they want to cover the insurance issue. It's on the agenda, but they don't really have it under place. And he's like, we can cover it now or cover it later. Might as well get it out of the way.
Do it and get it out of the way.
Let's go ahead.
All righty. The
Let's go ahead.
reason I'll just read the email we got. This was back on December the 18th when I got the email on the 19th that Trident, our provider, called and said they are non-renewing our general liability auto umbrella. They cited the pursuit claim as the reason, namely that they had an officer on the road, no training, hadn't attended the police academy. The pursuit was supposed to be called by a supervisor from afar, and that didn't happen. And the overall lack of risk management by the department.
All right. He's reading this really fast. God love him. I think he's nervous because he's not a nervous person. I think he's mad. I think he's pissed off. And I think he's just doesn't want to be in this spot. And I respect Steve a lot, but I wish that he would have slowed down a little bit so this could easily be digested as what he's saying. So we're going to slow this down here and let you hear what he's saying here.
Do it under new business, or do you want to go ahead and do it now and get it out of the way?
Let's go ahead.
All righty. The reason I'll just read the email we got. This was back on December the 18th when I got the email on the 9th.
Okay, he got this on December 18th. I guess that's I guess I didn't know that it was that old, but okay, here we go.
18th that Trident, our provider, called and said they are non-renewing our general liability auto umbrella. They cited the pursuit claim as the reason.
So Trident is not going to renew their general auto liability. And the reason that they're not doing that is a claim from the sheriff's department that occurred during an accident during a pursuit. Okay.
Namely, that they had an officer on.
Kick that back up here real quick. Kick that back up here. Yeah, absolutely. What he said, didn't your boy Hoffman say he would prosecute the cop in the pursuit, but it was kicked back to Henry County to do something, and Mahoney refused? Yeah. So what Eric said, looking at Eric's release, and I think that Eric's release is very damning. Eric basically stated for what the prosecutor's responsibility is, and that basically each elected prosecutor and their deputies do not have the power, nor should they have the power, to charge crimes that do not happen within their bailiwick, their jurisdiction. So where police officers specifically do not have jurisdiction, if you are a graduate of the ILEA, Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, so you go basically state line to state line, north to south, east to west. Everybody knows Muncie cops stay in Muncie, and Delaware County cops stay in Delaware County, and Henry County cops stay wherever the hell they want to go because Sproles is in charge. Eric identified some serious issues that he felt, I think, was with that situation, and he basically stated that he believed that charges should be filed, but that they should be filed in Henry County. And because of his position in Delaware County, he does not have the ability or the authority to do that, and that his counterpart in Henry County. Now, I'm not reading that statement in front of me. I can probably pull it up at a later date because I've had it and we've talked about it before, and I read it through a show. You can probably go back and watch that. You definitely can in the Henry County playlist. But I'm just reading it from memory. But it was more or less he was saying that, yes, there are people who should be charged, and the prosecutor of Henry County should do that charging. And Mahoney sat by and did nothing because he is a ballless, feckless individual, and I am so glad that he is stepping down. He knows that he's a loser. He knows that he is weak, and I'm glad that I'm actually can respect him more for saying I can't do it. What I wish he'd just go ahead and resign and allow someone to be caucused in, and let's get this ball on the roll. Let's get this game on the go. Whatever you say there. I wish that would happen, but okay, here we go.
Road, no training, hadn't attended
the pursuit, which caused a crash, is a claim, and their issue with this is there was a pursuit where the officer, the deputy, was on the road and had not been trained, had not been a graduate of the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. Okay, that's being said.
The police academy. The pursuit was supposed to be called by a supervisor from afar.
The pursuit was supposed to be called by a supervisor from afar. And you know who that supervisor was? That supervisor was Thrasher, the same supervisor that was off duty and responded to Amy Bell and Brian Bell's situation when Thrasher was the second plainclothes guy that got there, who was off duty when Haskets got there and made the stop. So Thrasher is a screw up all across the board here. And also then Sproles became notified, and Sproles never called anything off or did anything. He just, headed on this way to see the blood and the gore and everything bad going on so he could stand by his man. And that is a problem. That's why they're in the situation they're in.
And that didn't happen, and the overall lack of risk management by the department. So the claim is now reserved at $1.5 million and would not be renewed at the end of this month. So we had a meeting earlier today with our broker and gave us some not so pleasant amounts to deal with. Susan's eyes are better than mine on this paper, so I'll let her read what we're going to be increased to in our deductibles.
I went home to get my reading glasses. It's
I just
impossible
want
to see
point
without.
something out here, Kristopher.
Say again?
I want to point something out here, Kristopher.
Yes.
So in 2024, when they had the first one of these, where they needed to find new insurance,
Yep.
this is what they said
Yep.
in the email. It was a dramatic change in risk management with the sheriff's department.
Yep.
Sproles said, yes, it's all my fault, blah, 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 blah. So you think something would change.
Yep.
Something did change, because now they're citing the overall lack of risk management by the department. So we went from having a dramatic change to none. I just wanted to point that out. It caught my attention.
I'm glad. Yeah, that is a big thing, and I want to speak on that for a minute. So you're right, because so the sheriff is just one entity, and really, honestly, when you're running for sheriff, that's the sheriff's office it shouldn't be political. Policing shouldn't be political, but everybody knows it is. So you've got the sheriff who's running, and a lot of times, maybe whether they name him or not, they know who's going to be their chief deputy. So you got the chief deputy backing for this guy, and then you've got people up and down the rank and file that might be supporting them. But generally, when the sheriff takes over, you got other guys out there, and the department, the leadership changes, and things might change here and there, but really, it's like should be a well-oiled machine, and no matter who's in charge, the ship just rolls and it just keeps working. So you got Rick McCorkle, and people could have issues with Rick if they want or whatever, but he wasn't doing this. You know what I mean? This wasn't happening. So the sheriff, Sproles, takes over, and it's a dramatic change. There are still people on the department that are doing the right thing, but the sheriff is an out-of-control loony bin, and all this craziness is happening. And so it's a dramatic change in risk management. Well, he's now been there long enough, and this is something that I warned back in October of 2022, was that I was worried about this for the safety of the people in the department, the safety of the people in the county, for the expense, and I said it was going to cost Henry County citizens in several different ways. Could cost their lives, could cost their freedom, definitely could cost their money. Well, what's happened is he's now been on the department long enough that he has a good hold of people in the department. They brought in young guys, they brought in other guys, they brought in people that feel like they owe him something, and they look up to him. And so when they see him going out here and being just a right screw up cowboy, a wannabe cowboy, it's not a cowboy, it's a cowboy. They see him being a cowboy and running around acting like a fool. They're like, yeah, we can do that too. So then it went from being just a dramatic change in the risk management, because he's changing how things are going, but there's still people here doing good. Now, he's fired people, he's got rid of people have left, but he's got the majority of the people in place that do his bidding. And so now it's the overall lack of risk management by the department. And that is a very good point that Kate laid out there.
The premium increase in total is increasing $223,749. And then the biggest impact being in deductibles, with general liability deductible going from 0 to 100,000. Employee benefits liability.
She didn't say per claim. They're trying to hide that. I mean, she is. I don't think Dellinger is or whatever. It's per claim.
Deductible going from 1,000 to 100,000. Sexual abuse and molestation liability going from 0 to 100,000. Automobile liability going from 0 to 250,000. Auto physical damage going from either 1,000 to 2,500 to 25,000. Though, Steve, I know you can't see this, but it says there's 2 lines here for auto physical damage,
Yeah.
one of 25,000 and one of 2 million. What?
I think the 2 million was the cap.
That was the cap. Okay. Thank you. And then law enforcement liability staying at 150,000 and public officials and employment practices liability staying at 25,000. Is that accurate?
Say the only other, the rough one is 21 days, we have to come up with $1,076,846 to change the policy over. So that's the one that the council's going to be breathing very hard on.
And I need to let you guys know, I went back. Council pulled all of those liabilities out of each of those, the park health. They pulled all of those liabilities out. They're under yours. You guys are probably $200,000 short
Yeah, Rachel.
to be able to pay it, and you still have other things come out of liability.
To pay the new rate or, yeah,
There is
that's the difference. Yeah.
340-some thousand in the sheriff's budget that will be pulled out for the liability on their side. That
Okay.
was put in for the liability insurance on their side.
So no matter how you look at this, it's not pleasant and it's painful. But at this point, I don't know what our alternatives are or other choices. So
I think if the public listened to
Yeah.
the previous meeting, Josh Estel did go through a process of talking through how he had looked at every possible carrier. So just to bring that up again, that this is our best case option that Josh has presented to us.
I guess if there's no other discussion, I would entertain a well, the one
Yeah.
that he wanted us to do was what we needed to decide was that increase.
Mhm.
Uh,
There's an additional, he said we should decide if we wanted an additional 17 additional auto physical damage from, for example, some
right.
type of catastrophic loss for the highway trucks on site, not en route, with an expense of 17,500 for a $2 million policy.
I don't think it's a
That
bad
right?
idea.
Was it 2
I
million?
think it was something that, because this way, if
Yes. Okay.
something happened at the highway garage, a tornado or whatever, the park is directly connected as far as property wise. So there's a good possibility that damage would also continue over to the park as long as far as vehicles and equipment. So we could easily exceed that amount very quickly. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I hate the idea of having to come up with extra, but I think coverage wise, I think it's in the county's best interest to do it.
I agree, which would make the increase in premium then $241,249. And I would make a motion that we accept this
I'll be
recommended coverage.
honest, Alva, you're right. There's nobody there. First of all, I don't think a lot of people knew about this. I think that this is coming out now. Now, I think that people should know about this now. And by God, people should be at the next meeting and they should be demanding something change. Handcuff him to the chair or something. Lock him in his room, take his phone and social media away. Do something to stop this.
Including the additional auto physical damage with the additional expense of 17,500.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. This is going to be quick. Let's just do it this way.
Okay.
Highway department. I don't see.
Now,
Moving on.
they get through the rest of the meeting here.
Right, but I worked around the C-130s, very loud planes.
Okay, this dude
Business.
talks and 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 talks about his neighbor's dog barking. Dude, they let this guy talk for 40 minutes about dog barking.
Training. And like I said, if they get loose and they hurt someone, it's not going to. So they didn't get ran over, you know.
Then these people got up and
Yeah,
started
I always
talking
gave it
about
to
it. And he's still talking about it.
I'll say at this point, we have to get with Joel and figure out.
To the person then that I'd rather pay $20 today than run the risk of having to go to court and pay $170.
And he's still there.
A lot of people complain about it like that.
He just never sat down.
Spoke on it as well.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the resolution 2026-02-25001. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Anything else from the public? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.
All right. So that was it, folks. That's that. Listen. What? Okay, yeah. You're fine. You're fine. I saw that. I saw what you said. Yeah, that's right. Maybe he does. Folks, what people were saying is right. The citizens weren't there, and that's very disappointing. I am hoping that citizens will show up at the next meeting, and citizens will voice their displeasure, and citizens will let their displeasure be known to the sheriff. Call, email, text, Facebook message. Talk to your candidates that are running. Find out what they have to say about this. Talk to your candidates for Delaware County or Henry County Council. Talk to your candidates for Henry County Commissioner. This is something that it needs to be all hands on deck. And everybody needs to be working to the same goal of putting someone in the sheriff's department that is competent, that can pull Henry County out of this trash. For days. And I know they do, but the good thing about the commissioners' meetings are there are commissioners' meetings in the evening. So that's one thing I can say that there are. Well, let me see. Let me see exactly when. Hey, Amanda. I see Amanda there. Welcome. I don't know how long you've been here, but I appreciate you stopping in. And you don't have to get into anything that you don't want to, but I would just do want to ask because a lot of people have been asking. We had a word of prayer a moment ago, but I would just like to ask, how's everything going? About the same, better, worse? You know, you don't have to you just say what you want to say, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But if you could just give us like about the same, different, good, bad, whatever, just so people, because I know people are concerned. So I want to be sure to tell everybody that on Wednesdays. So the first Henry County meeting is that he is fighting hard, wakes up and tries to communicate. Okay. Well, that's good. That is good. That is good. Is he still hooked up to everything and all that? Is all that still going good? So their first meeting of the month on the second Wednesday is 11 a.m. But their last meeting of the month on the fourth Wednesday of the month is at 6 p.m. So there is at least one meeting that citizens can attend, just FYI. So I will keep you guys posted and let you know when that meeting is, and let you guys know kind of what the deal is with that. I'll keep you guys going with that. All right. So it sounds like a bad situation for Henry County. It sounds like, same old for John Sproles. Everything that we've all known. We know what a loose cannon he is, and we know what he's capable of. And I just hate it for the other good sheriff's deputies there, for the Newcastle Police Department. I hate it for the other good elected officials in Henry County, and definitely for the citizens. So we will keep following this, and we will see what happens. And I just hope and pray that nothing else comes out, because it's going to put them in a world of hurt, because something stupid could happen and this insurance company could say, nope, we decided against it. And then it's going to throw you guys all out of whack. So we'll keep you guys posted and let you know. All right. I know it's going long. We won't be here much longer. We'll just get through this Muncie stuff and we will let you guys go on your way. Ladies and gentlemen, we switch from Henry County now to the city of Muncie, my home sweet home. Today was Wednesday, and on Wednesdays in Muncie, we have what's called the Board of Works meeting. It is a meeting where 3 individuals who are appointed by the mayor, they are just regular citizens. They're not elected. They're part of the administration because the mayor appoints them, and their job is to get claims that comes before the city, and they're the ones that votes to pay the bills for the city. Essentially, the city council sets a budget and says all these funds go in these line items, and then the city department heads, the police department, the fire department, the controller, the building commissioner, the mayor's office, just everybody that works in the city, they have bills to pay. They have electric to pay for their offices or for the city buildings that they're in. They have equipment that they have to buy. They have to buy pens. They have to buy Post-it notes. They've got to buy computers and just everything that you could think of, anything that you could run a city with. And these claims come before the Board of Works members. And used to, these Board of Works meetings in past administrations, when other mayors were in office, would last 35 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half. They lasted for a good length of time because the Board of Works members, under mayors and under Democrats, under other people besides Ridenhour, would review the claims and ask questions. And sometimes they voted and sometimes they voted no. Sometimes they voted yes, sometimes they voted no. They ask questions, they approve contracts, they vote on contracts, they're really a catch-all. They're very, very powerful board. For it to be a volunteer board, basically the mayor appoints them and they don't get any money, but they're there every week. It's a 3-member board and they have to vote. It has to be at least 2 members voting, and they never vote no. They never question a claim. They never say, I don't think that we owe this.
That's not true. Linda does sometimes question when people buy sandwiches.
Well, yes, she questions sandwiches. She questions if alcohol will be there, things like that. But they don't ever say no. She might question something silly, and then they move on. So this is a very important board. Matter of fact, at some point here very soon, hopefully, when we can catch some kind of our breath, we have to look into what they're doing with the claims, because something, as we've mentioned here in the last several months, something weird is going on with the claims. So today we were watching, as we're going to do now, and this happened.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the February 25th meeting of the Muncie Board of Public Works and Safety. Please rise if you can for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We'll skip this along.
Present.
They're all 3 there.
A motion to approve as presented, please.
Yes, I move approval of the February 18th minutes as presented.
I'll second.
They approved the minutes for last meeting.
Again, well done.
And here come the claims.
To review. We'll welcome City Controller Craig Wright to the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning, Craig.
Sent out the claims yesterday, and just our usual utilities, healthcare. Did have a couple fun claims on there. One for Prairie Creek, and one for the City of Muncie to the Pyrotechnico fireworks. So we can have fireworks on the 3rd at Prairie Creek and on the 4th in the City of Muncie. With that, I'll just
Yay!
open it up to any questions you might have.
Okay, Linda?
I have none.
Okay, Lola? Yeah, I've reviewed them at length too. I do not have any additional questions. Thank you for putting these in order. and
Well, you've got
to
no
department heads
questions.
For what they do. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve?
Yes, I move approval of the claims for $1,417,622. Second.
Hey,
Any comments or questions? Okay, having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Unfinished
Yes.
business, we have request by Mayor Dan Ridenhour.
okay, here we go.
Good morning, Dan Ridenhour, Mayor of Muncie. Part of unfinished business, in my personal opinion, is we have a retirement that is coming as of today, and that is one of our esteemed Board of Works members, but also this person, Linda Gregory. Today is her last day. We have a new person who will be taking her spot. I just wanted to personally thank you for serving on this Board of Works, always extremely professional. We served together on the City Council, and you were on the City Council before I was as well. You have served this city for some 20 years.
And let me tell you, in her last, Linda's a Democrat. And being a Democrat, the way kind of Democrat Linda was, I never really had a problem with her because she wasn't doing anything on like the national level with it. So she just basically would always ask questions of people. At some point, she stopped asking questions. And I think she really just worked past her usefulness. And she just got to a point where she just was no longer useful. But in the last year, when she actually ran for re-election and lost. Part of the reason she lost is just because people were tired of her. It was time for her to leave. She'd already been there for 3 terms. That's 12 years. But sometime in the summer, between the primary and the November election, she made a comment during a Muncie City Council meeting when there were people from the audience there. And she made a comment about Muncie, McCullough Park. And McCullough Park is a city park, beautiful city park, and it's close to Whiteley, which Whiteley is an area in Muncie that is vibrant in the Black community of Muncie. Black communities all over Muncie. It's not like they're just in any one part, but the Black community, like Whiteley and like McCullough Park, and spent a lot of time in McCullough Park. And McCullough Park has a history long ago of having animals in the park. They had bears. I think they had some peacocks. At one point, they had some like different monkeys and things in the park. And Linda made a comment. I still don't understand. I think I know what she was doing, but just so stupid for being so careful that she is. She said something to the effect of she was giving an award to somebody that was like 500 years old. And she was like, much like today, when you first started in the park, there were monkeys back then like there are today. Something to that effect. And I was there live, and my jaw hit the floor, and I thought, oh, no, she didn't. There's no way Linda just said that. And all hell broke loose. People were rightfully mad. And people asked for her to be censured. And it cost her the election, along with a lot of her other dumb shit. And the council members, in their last meeting of the year, of the month, after she'd already been beat. She knew she wasn't coming back, but they made and took steps to censure her just to send her out with a spanking. And this is when I thought, uh-oh, we might be in trouble, because Ridenour had won and was the mayor. This was the meeting after he had said the stupid Bilbrey comment. So I already knew that he was changing. You know, he'd only won like 3 weeks before, but they were voting to censure Linda. And before he spoke, before his vote, he spoke. And he cried. And he cried. I don't want to do this to you. And I knew, I was like, oh my God, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. He didn't cry nearly as much as he did at the shooting, but it was wild. So Dan's got something for Linda. I don't understand. So here he is.
I don't know that people realize how much that position pays, but it's zero. And so you talk about somebody who's given their heart and soul to our community, and Linda, you have. And
there was a time where she was a pretty okay public servant, and then that time has been gone for a long time. I think that time ended sometime in her second term, but she didn't realize it, or she didn't care, and she just kept going. She ran for another time, got elected for a third term, served a whole nother third term, and then tried for a fourth. And it was weird. This woman was the second person that Ridenour appointed when he became mayor. She was like the second person. And it was strange because he was a Democrat. She was a Democrat. He's a Republican. She's a Democrat. So he's here to wish her well.
Even though we're on the opposite side of the aisles politically, we have always worked together. We always communicate. You and I and others. I've just noticed that's the way you operate. What is good for the city is what you attempt to do in your positions. Not just on the city council, but here on the board of work. So thank you as you head into your retirement. We have.
Look, I hate this need to have to be nice to people, because it's like a formality. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to do that. If you are not worthy of the respect, I'm not giving it to you. She's worthy of a little respect, but not total adulation. She's been weak-minded and weak-spirited for quite some time.
Have a little celebration we're going to do once this meeting is over. And in honor of you, we have a cake, and we would love for people to participate. But I also have, you want to come up? Just a couple quick words, as quick as you can make them, but get the words in. So.
Hi, I'm Molly Flotter. I'm a retired member of this community and live out on the line between Liberty and Perry Township. I have known Linda for a long time, and back in around 1996, late 1995, we became better acquainted as she had sort of an arm's length relationship with the nonprofit group that I eventually led, which was Teamwork for Quality Living. One of the very first times we were all together and talking about little quick and easy things we could do, she said, wow, we could paint a whole block full of houses and call it the project Paint the Town. And that's just kind of the way Linda has always been, in my view. Somebody who had good ideas and ready to say, let's get her done. We didn't end up doing that. We did work with Home Savers, which Connie was a part of for years. It wasn't named that then, but we were able to get a lot of things done with them. I got to know her much better after we were involved in our anti-poverty work. She and several other people came to a poverty simulation, and it really, I think, kind of changed her in a way that she began to realize what struggling people go through. And she became very much involved as a volunteer for about 10 years. She ultimately was my boss as the president of our board. And she didn't just drop everything else. She was busy all over the community. She was doing things, in particular, I remember, for the Bilbrey Center as a member of their board. And I know everybody in this room can think of something that Linda Gregory was involved in helping do. She was so instrumental in our organization's success in many ways. And I appreciate all that she did for us and for not only just the random group of people, but for specific folks who were living in poverty. So I will always be grateful to you for that, Linda. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mark.
So I thank you for allowing us to do this. In the unfinished portion, and the unfinished part is thank you for your service to our community. The City of Muncie is very appreciative of all that you've done. So thank you.
Thank you very much. You're going to make me cry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, just to add nothing, I can't add.
I
much
don't
to
think
that
that's
except,
even possible.
Day one, when the mayor took office in his first term, and we had our first Board of Works meeting. We kind of were just selected at the last minute. It all happened quickly. Linda and I walked up here together.
Linda wasn't.
And so since the beginning, we've been together, and I've had such a good time getting to know her. She's a real candid person, just a real person who loves this community. And I'm grateful for that example. You've been an example to so many people. And so I appreciate you so much. I always look forward to see you on Wednesday mornings because you're always here, right?
Yes,
And
I missed one meeting in
yeah,
six-
one meeting,
six
yeah.
years.
So so much appreciated. So
She missed one meeting in 6
I
years.
just want to say thank you for all you taught me. You taught me so much, and I just really appreciate you.
Well, it's now my turn.
Well, okay.
It's been a privilege. I started out, I moved back to, grew up here, of course. Was away for many years, came back in 1995, got involved with city politics because I lived on university and somebody wanted to develop a quarter of an acre into a 29-unit apartment complex just a few blocks from my house. And I, along with a lot of other neighbors, thought this is really a foolish idea. So we came to a council meeting. And as I said, I was newly back in town and I thought, well, I don't have a lot to do. This is kind of interesting. I'll just come to the next one too. Well, I went to 12 years of meetings before I decided I need to be up here. So I did run and was successful, served 3 terms. And then Dan asked if I would serve here, and it's been a pleasure. We often don't know what our capabilities are until we do them. And I've always said, let me do what I can with what I've got as long as I can. Well, that time has come where I think
That time came.
almost 30 years is probably enough to be in this position. So
time came
it's been a joy
in
and
your
a
second
pleasure,
term.
and I know it's all in good hands, and we will continue on.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you. It is so cool to be around someone who just loves this community, loves the city so much. So thank you. Okay, enough of that. Okay, but we appreciate you. We do have some
Enough
business.
of
We have
that,
a
but we
residential
appreciate you.
application For 1707 South High Street.
Wait a minute. Now
we
we
have
go
somebody
into some
representing
actual
here
work.
who
Whoa,
just
whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
okay. I just wanted
It's
to
a
make sure.
renewal.
Why
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
the
So it's a
mayor?
renewal.
Will there be alcohol
Do we
at
have
that
a
cake
motion
function?
to approve?
Why did no one
Approval of the,
say
handicap parking.
who her replacement
And I
would
will
be?
second.
Okay. And all
This is the
paperwork
issue
in
with
order,
Dan
so thank you.
Ridenhour, man. He is such a piss poor communicator, for the love of God. Why did you go through all that bullshit, but not step up and be like, and by the way, next week, when you people tune in, we will see whoever in the chair. He just doesn't care what people think. He doesn't care. It's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating to deal with the city of Muncie because of just how little they give a shit about what any of you think or what I think, or you know what I mean? They don't know that we can cause them problems politically, and that we will and will fight against them tooth and nail, but they just don't care. And they only need 2, but I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the sources of mine that do their jobs, and God love them, every single one of them, far and wide, and every place that they are, I love them. Every bit of information they provide to me, I am so thankful for absolutely everything that they that all of my sources. It doesn't matter where they're from, it doesn't matter what they're telling me. I am so appreciative of literally everything that they convey and the work that they do, because in pretty quick fashion, I was like asking people, well, wait a minute, what's going on? Who's going to be taking over Linda's position? And there were some doty-dos and people saying, I don't know. I asked Amber, the communications director. She said she didn't know. I don't know if she did or not. It seemed like she was kind of playing a game with me and wouldn't tell me. But my sources come through. My sources told me that this man right here, this young lad, I'm not going to call him a man, this young lad here, Alan Wisely will be the new Linda Gregory. He'll be taking over for Linda. Now, some of you might be like, well, wait a minute, who's Alan Wisely? What's Alan Wisely's deal? Well, he is like really good friends to another young person in Muncie that you guys may know, that you guys have watched. He's another young individual that I am not a fan of, that I do not like, an individual who is very, very detestable. And that person is none other than Mr. Isaac Miller. Isaac Miller on the Redevelopment Commission. He and Alan Wisely, I don't know if they're like related or they're just best friends, best pals, best chums. I don't know what the deal is, but they're all, oh, yo, hummy hum, whatever, all that stuff, all that weirdness. Good friends, whatever. Okay. Isaac is the president of the Redevelopment Commission, and he's just a total dick. Okay. Alan Wisely does not have it in him to be like Isaac. He's very soft-spoken. He's an attorney. It's very bizarre. He's an attorney, and he works for listen to this. He works for the law firm that represents the city mayor's administration. So he works for the law firm that is the city attorneys for Beasley Gilkinson. And so it's like, yeah, that's not a problem or conflict in any way. It's everything else they do, whatever. So he works for them. He's going to now be a Board of Works member. And I don't hold out much hope for anything. I don't think it's going to be like magical. I definitely don't think that he's going to question anything more than Linda did. Matter of fact, it probably will be less. Okay. It's what the deal is. It's just how he is. It's who he is. He's not someone's going to stand up. He is an attorney. As I said, he's young. He's like not 30 yet. I don't think he's 30 yet. But I don't know why the mayor wouldn't tell us that he's the person that's been picked. It's kind of strange. He is a young lapdog Republican, and he will be a rubber stamp for Ridenhour and all of the weirdness that goes on and all of the high claims. Like Alva said, I don't know who's going to be letting us know how much the claims are, but I think I'm going to have to be in attendance next Wednesday to make sure that they let things go the way they have been, because I'm not ready for anything to change, and I don't want to see any big changes come to how they do things. They need to keep things exactly like they are. If they're not going to improve things, they certainly need to keep things rolling so that we don't have any big changes. So that's what's going on, and it's a step backwards. It's not a good thing. It's just like everything right now is done. People don't know this. We don't say this as much anymore. Okay. I don't, it is what it is. We used to put this out there frequently, and I'm working my way down to put it on here because it needs to be said. Oh no, I thought we got rid of it. That would have been bad. Ridenhour back in 2019 ran on these 6 principles. These 6 promises. He ran to improve communication, improve transparency, improve accountability. He ran to slow government down, improve relationships between the city and the county, and put the best people in place. He has not improved communication. He has not improved transparency. He has not improved accountability. He has not slowed government down. If anything, he's sped it up so fast that it's just spun off the axis and it's just rolling out in space. We're just rolling crazy. Okay, it's so crazy. He's improved the relationship between the city and county. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It just depends. It's not magical like he said it would be, and he has certainly not ever, not once, put the best people in place for any job. So that's just the case. And all of those hold true with the placement of Alan Wisely on. they all hold true to putting Linda on that board because she asked questions for the first couple of weeks. And then I think she got the memo and she stopped doing it. And so I was like, well, you have no purpose of being here. And Wisely will be the same. We will watch him. We will try to correct the behavior, but they're going to do what they're going to do. We're just going to have to be here to report on it and hopefully set things right in the upcoming elections. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the whole big announcement today. I do want to say it's Wednesday, and normally we have a community update, but there is no community update today. There is, however, this that was posted yesterday, and I want people to be aware of this. This is the City of Muncie's State of Our Community, City of Muncie in Delaware County. It used to be State of the City. It's always been State of the City. But now this year, because, and this is all like just a big Unigov thing, because it's no longer the City of Muncie government and the Delaware County government, now because the Delaware County Republican Party is running the show, it's a big orgy of city and county, okay? City and county together, and it's going to be the state of our community. And so they're all going to be there together on stage, and it's just a little over a week away. It's going to be amazing. I have my tickets. I'm going to be there for this event. It's going to be magical. It will be live streamed. We'll be able to see it and watch it and view it and talk about it. But I will be there, and we will keep track of everything that's going on, bring it to you guys, and I'll let you know my thoughts and my opinions on it, and yada, yada, yada. So you'll have to tune in. It's sometime next week. I'll talk to you next week. It's not next week. It's like the week following, I think. I think it's, when is it? I don't know when it is. I think it is, well, let me tell you exactly. Into March. Well, I have tickets for this event. But I don't know when it is, so I'll have to keep you posted. It's sometimes next week. I think it might be the 5th or the 6th. I don't know. Hey, I appreciate that, Thad Kissick. I appreciate that. I know that we don't always agree, that you don't always agree with the things that I say or the way that I do things, but I appreciate your kind words, and I know that you are somebody that views from time to time, and I appreciate that. So I'll keep you guys posted. It's not tomorrow, so it's no big deal, and it's not like the 1st of next week. So I'll keep you guys posted, and we'll do what we got to do on that. I'll find out. I've got tickets to it, but I just don't have it written down apparently. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us this evening. It's been a long one, but we've had a lot to get to. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, sharing the show, and spreading the word. I appreciate all the kind words, even the bad ones. Please, please, please do us a favor before you spread your wings and fly away. Smash that like button if you could. If you're here on YouTube, that would be fantastic. And share the show with everyone you know. And tell them, hey, tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a great show. And I promise you, I don't know what we're going to talk about just yet, but it's going to be wild. So tune in, 9 p.m. tomorrow. We will be here. Kate will be here. I'll be here. God willing, everybody, you'll all be here. You guys take care. And remember, he's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously. We'd like to try to run it tomorrow. So if you guys, we need a couple more guys. Do it. Get us the message, and we'll let you guys know. You guys take care, And we will see you tomorrow. Good. Bye.